Tonight, the deadly explosion, the school and the powerful blast, children and teachers inside. Rescuers searching through the rubble for survivors. We're on the scene. The major headline from the White House tonight, the president now behind a plan to slash immigration, cutting it in half. And the fight from the podium today over what the Statue of Liberty really stands for. The train derailment and the evacuations, train cars slamming into a home, the fireball caught on surveillance. Our team is there tonight. The pool emergency, 37 children rushed to the hospital late today, several in serious condition tonight. Authorities are now blaming a possible chemical leak. And tens of thousands of Americans lining up today, the major jobs offer, and what many of them then told us, that it wasn't just the job they're looking for.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a Wednesday night. And we begin with that deadly explosion at a school in Minneapolis, ripping it in half, trapping people inside. Contractors were working on the gas lines at the time. The blast near a central stairwell that connects all areas of the building. Summer programs were underway. Children, teachers, and staff were inside. Rescue crews immediately began searching through the rubble. And tonight there is word coming in now, the name of the first victim. ABC's Alex Perez on the scene for us in Minneapolis.
Tonight, a huge section of this private school in Minneapolis reduced to a pile of rubble.
We have windows that were blown out, flames and fire, and building collapse as well.
Around 10:20 this morning, school administrators and several students inside Minnehaha Academy, basketball and cross-country practice just wrapping up when suddenly a massive explosion entirely guts the middle of the school building.
There was a huge explosion. Smoke went up, knocked most of us kind of back, and it knocked me off my feet and kind of fell back.
The blast, officials say, triggered when a crew accidentally pierced a gas line.
Hey, we're smelling gas, we need everybody out, and it was literally seconds after that there was a big explosion.
First responders rushing in, searching for survivors, a school custodian still missing.
Crews are working on extinguishing the fire at this time and also searching for unaccounted people who may be trapped under the collapse.
Outside, horrified parents waiting for any word on their kids inside. Another school janitor surviving the ordeal, his head bandaged, reuniting with his wife. 9 adults rushed to the hospital. The school receptionist, Ruth Berg, killed in the explosion. Her fiancé says their wedding invitations came in the mail yesterday.
This school is beloved. The people there are beloved. And this is a big loss for the city today.
Just a horrific loss. Alex Perez joins us live outside that school in Minneapolis. And Alex, first responders remain on the scene at this hour?
That's right, David. Authorities say they are working to make the scene as safe as possible for investigators. Tonight, we are also learning that receptionist who was killed worked at the school for 17 years. Officials say she always greeted everyone with a smile and that she will be missed. David?
Alex Perez leading us off tonight. Alex, thank you. Now to the major development from the White House today. President Trump endorsing a new immigration plan that would ultimately cut legal immigration into this country in half. The measure also favors highly skilled workers. There was immediate reaction even from some Republicans today. And from the White House podium today, a fierce debate over what the Statue of Liberty really stands for. ABC's Mary Bruce on the Hill again tonight.
Eager to tackle a key campaign promise, President Trump today made a surprise push to overhaul the nation's immigration system.
This legislation demonstrates our compassion for struggling American families.
Standing with 2 Republican senators, the president embraced their bill to slash legal immigration in half. The bill pushes skilled workers and English speakers to the front of the line and limits admissions based on family connections. Those senators described the plan as modest and incremental, but today Stephen Miller, one of the president's top advisors, called it a sea change.
What President Trump has done today is one of the most important legislative moves that we've seen on this issue in many, many years.
But Miller was challenged on whether the bill lives up to American values.
The Statue of Liberty says, give me you're tired, you're poor, you're huddled masses, yearning to breathe free. It doesn't say anything about speaking English or being able to be a computer programmer.
I don't want to get off into a whole thing about history here, but the Statue of Liberty is a symbol of liberty enlightening the world. It's a symbol of American liberty lighting the world. The poem that you're referring to that was added later is not actually part of the original Statue of Liberty.
And what about protections for dreamers, undocumented immigrants who are brought to the U.S. as children? The president told David in January that announcement was coming soon.
Mr. President, will they be allowed to stay?
I'm going to tell you over the next 4 weeks.
Today, 27 weeks later, the White House says they still don't have an answer.
So let's get to Mary Bruce live on the Hill for us tonight. And Mary, the president endorsing this bill today, but give us a reality check, as you often do. Does it have enough support at this point to pass?
David, tonight this bill doesn't seem to be going anywhere. It lacks support even from Republicans. Congress has a long to-do list up here, and right now immigration reform isn't on the schedule. David.
Mary Bruce live on the Hill. Mary, thank you. And also tonight, Democrats and Republicans sending that bill to President Trump. It had been sitting on his desk. Tough new sanctions on Russia for meddling in the U.S. election. Today, the president did sign it, but without cameras. And he did not sign it without blasting lawmakers and the bill itself. ABC senior White House correspondent Cecilia Vega tonight.
President Trump, so often criticized for being too soft on the Kremlin, today reluctantly signed into law tough new sanctions on Russia. But for someone who seems to so enjoy a signing ceremony, the White House kept this one behind closed doors, away from the cameras. The president signing it but issuing scathing words at the same time, calling the legislation seriously flawed. And when we asked him about it,
Mr. President, why are the Russia sanctions seriously flawed?
No comment. Congress had boxed the president into a corner. The bill passed by an overwhelming veto-proof majority, Democrats and Republicans. The president said he signed it for the sake of national unity, but in written statements, he slammed lawmakers, saying they included a number of clearly unconstitutional provisions, adding, "I built a truly great company worth many billions of dollars. As president, I can make far better deals with foreign countries than Congress." Senator John McCain from Arizona, where he is undergoing cancer treatment, saying, "I hope the president will be as vocal about Russia's aggressive behavior as he was about his concerns with this legislation." Tonight, the president also facing tough questions about his own behavior after using a Boy Scouts jamboree last week to vent about politics.
We won Florida, we won South Carolina, we won North Carolina, we won Pennsylvania.
The president told the Wall Street Journal the head of the Boy Scouts personally called him to say it was the greatest speech that was ever made to them, and they were very thankful. But the political tone of that speech angered so many, the Boy Scouts were actually forced to issue an apology. And today they said there was no phone call from Scout leadership to the White House. The president also says he got a call from Mexico's president praising his work on the border.
The president of Mexico called me. They said their southern border, very few people are coming because they know they're not going to get through our border.
But Mexico says nope, that call did not happen either. Today we asked the White House, did President Trump lie?
No, on Mexico, he was referencing the conversation that they had at the G20 summit in terms of the Boy Scouts, multiple members of the Boy Scout leadership following his speech there that day, congratulated him, praised him.
But the president specifically said that he received a phone call from the president of Mexico.
They were actually direct. They were
the
direct conversations, not actual
so he did. So he lied. He didn't receive.
I wouldn't say it was a lie. It was. That's pretty bold accusation. It's the conversations took place. They just simply didn't take place over a phone call. That he had them in person.
Cecilia Vega with us live from the White House tonight. And Cecilia, the president is also taking some heat about comments he allegedly made about the White House itself.
Yeah, he reportedly, David, told members of his Bedminster Golf Club that, quote, the White House is a real dump. As you can imagine, that prompted some swift backlash. Take a look at this picture from President Obama's former White House photographer, no stranger to publicly slamming this president, Pete Souza, saying, you can see the Lincoln bedroom there. He said no American should ever call this White House a dump. David, tonight, a spokesperson for President Trump says that comment did not happen.
Cecilia Vega with us again tonight. Cecilia, thank you. We turn here to a major train derailment we're following in the middle of a Pennsylvania town. Train cars crashing into homes, exploding into flames. Tonight, evacuations underway. ABC's Lindsay Janis on the scene for us.
That massive freight train carrying hazardous chemicals careening off the tracks in this Pennsylvania neighborhood.
Train derailment with fire.
Tanks of propane and molten sulfur bursting into flames.
This is a heck of a way to be woken up at 5 a.m.
The blast captured on this home security camera. Christina Sutphin jolted out of bed when a train car hit her home.
Shook my whole house. It took my kitchen out, my stairwells. We had to climb out the window. And then I just yelled for my neighbors, and they got a ladder, and they got me and my daughter down.
The CSX freight train traveling from Chicago to Selkirk, New York, crashing in the tiny town of Hindman, about 100 miles southeast of Pittsburgh. The entire town, over 1,000 people evacuated. The Red Cross setting up a shelter.
David, train cars are still burning at this hour. The NTSB is on the scene, and the Department of Health is conducting air pollution tests. Thankfully, no one was injured. David?
Lindsay Janice, our thanks to you as well. The U.S. military testing a long-range missile amid rising tensions with North Korea tonight. The launch from Vandenberg Air Force Base in California was previously scheduled with advance warning to commercial airliners and ships in its path. It was last night here we reported that North Korea's most recent missile test landed in the same area where an Air France plane had flown through 10 minutes earlier, more than 300 people on board that plane. And to our troops overseas tonight from Afghanistan, the battle in that country claiming the lives of 2 more U.S. service members. The Taliban taking responsibility, saying a suicide attacker drove a truck bomb into a military convoy near Kandahar. 9 Americans have now died supporting Afghan forces so far this year. We turn next tonight to growing concern and to what could be a new case of carbon monoxide in a police SUV cruiser. A Massachusetts officer passing out behind the wheel, crashing into another car. His cruiser, a Ford Explorer, the same type linked to other similar cases involving police vehicles. And here tonight, ABC's David Wright.
Tonight, another case like this one of a police officer passing out at the wheel and having an accident, allegedly after unsafe exposure to carbon monoxide. This crash happened in Newport Beach, California. The new case in Auburn, Massachusetts.
He said that he had just been involved in an accident and he had passed out and hit another vehicle.
The Auburn officer lost control, struck a car at a stop sign, and wound up in a church parking lot across the street. He's been hospitalized. So have 2 other officers who also tested positive for carbon monoxide exposure. It's the latest in a series of troubling incidents involving late-model Ford police SUVs. The Austin, Texas Police Department took nearly 400 vehicles off the streets after officers there reported getting sick from the fumes. Tonight, Ford says it is sending engineers to Auburn to inspect their vehicles and modifications made to them. Ford says that the modifications that police departments make to these vehicles may be the cause of the problem because they have to drill holes in order to install some of the equipment that police officers need. In any case, Ford says it will fix all of the vehicles that are experiencing problems. David?
David Wright, thank you. Next here to an historic heat wave in the Pacific Northwest we're watching tonight. A haze over Portland. That is smoke from the wildfires. Amid triple-digit temperatures, some breaking records, and in the east tonight, blinding rain and hail. This is from Paterson, New Jersey, not long ago. 30 million Americans will be in the storm zone by the end of the week with this system. So let's get right to meteorologist Rob Marciano. He's live with us tonight along the West Side Highway here in a darkened Manhattan. Hey, Rob.
Hi, David. We'll start with the heat out west. For some parts of the Northwest, it will be the hottest stretch they've seen in nearly a decade. Take a look at the setup. Huge ridge building in the Pacific that's allowing that hot air to surge north. And we've got heat warnings that are smothering Nevada, California, Western Oregon, and Washington. And tomorrow in Portland and Salem could see all-time record high temperatures there. And that air quality with that smoke, not good for the I-5 cities there. Meanwhile, widespread strong thunderstorms from Baltimore to Boston. Hefty rain, a lot of lightning with these. And the severe weather threat tomorrow is going to be in Chicago and then Cleveland and Pittsburgh and the Northeast on Friday with some filler thunderstorms that can be potent like we're seeing here tonight. David?
Just about every part of the country we're watching tonight. Rob Marciano, our thanks to you. And to the economy now in the stock market, the Dow reaching yet another milestone tonight, closing above 22,000 for the first time, gaining 52 points to finish at 22,016. Stocks have been surging, taking just 107 trading days to go from 21,000 to 22,000. And it comes as tens of thousands of Americans lined up today for jobs. And they told us that it's not just the job they need. Here's ABC's Gio Benitez.
Tonight, from coast to coast, as many as 50,000 people have new job offers, standing in line for hours to get hired by online retail giant Amazon.
I'm ready. I can do this. I'm going to get a job today.
Marty Mussman works part-time and came here for the benefits. Almost all of the jobs here are full-time. He got an offer.
I'm 56 years old. There aren't a lot of places that want to hire someone over 50.
Stay-at-home mom Carrie Lynn Houtman needs a job too, and